Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about Mercury square Uranus in Synastry. So this is a pretty fun aspect for communication. Mercury is a more neutral or usually sometimes a more open-minded energy that can take or at least be curious about the Uranus person, more so than sometimes other planets in a square aspect to Uranus. There's often a dislike of the Uranus's kind of crazy energy that they have. But with Mercury square Uranus, there's definitely like Mercury wants to see what Uranus is all about, even if sometimes they are shocked or they are like at a loss for words and they're just kind of staring blankly at the Uranus person, like, what did you just say? Um, but they do want to be around Uranus at least at the beginning. And, a lot more would depend on other aspects, like whether you could handle an aspect like this long term. So it's not just that, oh, you have a square to Uranus, that means the relationship is not long term. Many people function in long term relationships with squares to Uranus, but they are frustrating and they can show some big differences in like attachment styles and also lifestyles. And in this one, it's going to be a difference of ideas and how we communicate, and like our day to day habits can be quite different also. The Uranus person is shocking to the Mercury person in some way. But interestingly enough, when you have an aspect like this, sometimes the Mercury person is also going to shock the Uranus person because they are both different from each other. And like the energy of the square is that both people are kind of feeling this tension, they're feeling this frustration, and they can definitely take it out on each other at times. So there can be when you're communicating and you have this square, you can communicate impulsively, you can react, you can get triggered by the other person, but it can also kind of result in this like lighthearted banter back and forth. It's very flirty, very fun. In a teacher student relationship, this can also be very good, very awakening, very enlivening to the mind. So it can actually be quite favorable because Uranus is the shock, the awakener, right? And Mercury is the planet of the mind. So, when you have a square, which is the most tense, frustrating aspect, you're going to be forced to open your mind if you are going to continue communicating with this person because they're going to have some different ideas. They're going to be coming from potentially a different background. You could see that as well. Because like Mercury, the third house, can kind of represent our upbringing or even like our siblings and like our day-to-day environment and how, we were raised and stuff. And the Uranus person, and yeah, you guys are definitely going to have some differences in those areas usually with a square like this. And you'll have some different ways of communicating likely, unless you could see this like if you both had this square in your natal chart and then you had Mercury's conjunct or whatever, you might actually communicate the same. But like in most cases, this square is showing quite a difference in communication and how you actually articulate information. And yeah, usually it's going to be the Uranus person shocking the Mercury person, but like I said, sometimes it can switch as well. The Uranus person could be someone that contributes to the Mercury person's like evolving interests in, let's say, like they have some spiritual pursuit that maybe they don't know that much about, and then Uranus is like the expert on it, and Uranus can like teach Mercury about it. That's kind of a theme, or that's kind of something that's common with this square, or even the opposition of Mercury is like the Mercury person seeing the Uranus person as like this mind and life expander. Now, this aspect is, I would say, more frustrating than the square. There's definitely going to be tension. There's going to be like silences at the wrong time or too much talking at the wrong time. It's like you both don't really have the same cues on like airspace. Like, how do I say that? Like it could actually be a little bit awkward at times because the element of Mercury square Uranus in synastry is like bringing this kind of electric energy that you can definitely feel like at a loss for words at times, or you can feel like you're not going to be able to translate this person, or like you can't really read this person very well. Like there's something weird about the communication. There's something that's kinked up here in the hose of like flowing communication. It's like, like what are we saying? And so there can be misunderstandings. You can say things that don't really come out right, right? You can impulsively communicate to each other, and if you're fighting, if you're angry, if you're, getting in an argument, things can come out that are even shocking to you, like, wow, I said that, I can't believe I said that. And so when you have tense squares to Mercury in synastry, the Mercury person can feel unheard, and they can feel like they're unable to get it out properly. Like it doesn't come out right, or it's not, if it does come out right, it's not received. What they're saying is not received by the person that is having the harsh squares on their Mercury. And that can be quite disheartening if there's like a lot. Like if there's like one, that's pretty usual, that's pretty normal. But if there's like a bunch of squares to someone's Mercury in the synastry, they can feel unintelligent, they can feel put down, they can feel like they just can't communicate with flow and ease. Now, just this one square isn't going to do that. But if you throw this in with some other difficult ones, the Mercury person could end up feeling stifled. And also, the Mercury person here is the more sensitive of the two in most cases, and they can end up being hurt by the Uranus person's kind of cold or sarcastic remarks towards them. So the Uranus person needs to be aware that without meaning to, they can have like their way of communicating with the Mercury person can be too detached or too eccentric or too they can be too unavailable, really. Like maybe they go ghost for like a day, and like that hurts Mercury person's feelings, like, and they have to be conscious of that. Now it could flip and have the other side where Mercury then does this to Uranus, but it's more common that the Uranus person is gonna like take too much space or say too much or not say enough, and the Mercury person is going to end up feeling not heard. Even though they're getting a lot out of this relationship, they're getting this electric learning experience, right? Like that might not be enough as far as like the day-to-day relating goes. But if you have great synastry, otherwise you have a good or decently good composite chart, this can be a more minor thing, but it will show up as this weird communication. Like it is weird. And if you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. Like it definitely is odd. The other thing that I've noticed is like when someone's Mercury squared my Uranus, they definitely can look up to you as like this like guru level. Like they think you have this wisdom, but like the way that they communicate or the way that they ask you for advice is like sort of off-putting. Now, not all the time, but it's like the Uranus person can definitely feel like, hey, you're invading my space, or you're asking me too many questions, or, like, because Uranus is the planet where we're like the most independent, and it can seem like Mercury is just going on and on about like insignificant things. And the Uranus person can definitely kind of get in their ego, like, you're talking too much, man. Like, so yeah, it's a funny one. It's a fun one. On the lighter side, there can be a lot of joking around. And if Mercury can take a joke, if Mercury can like understand the Uranus person's eccentric, rebellious ways, they can really have a lot of fun together. And that's like often what will happen. But the danger is that, yeah, there can be these difficulties. Squares show frustrating tension, but if you had a synastry with no squares, it would be so boring. You have to have some. So if you have this one, it's not really so bad as some of them could be. But I'd love to hear your experiences. If you've had this in Synastry, what has it been like for you? I'd love to hear about that. And I'm sending you all the love. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Talk soon. Bye.